Welcome, everybody. In today's class, I would like to offer the spiritual explanation behind eating kosher in Judaism. In several places in the Torah, the children of Israel are commanded to differentiate between the clean and the unclean animals that walk the earth. When God created the world, He made everything with two aspects: internal and external. The external is the vessel or the physical external representation that we perceive in this world, while the internal is the spiritual, invisible essence that really is the essence of that thing. For example, take a human being. The body is the vessel, the external aspect, while the soul is the internal aspect, which is the lifeblood. So, same thing applies to animals. Believe it or not, animals also have an internal and an external. So they also have a level of a soul. We wouldn't call it like a human soul, but like an animal soul. In Hebrew, we call it nefesh. The nefesh is in the blood, and every animal has one of these. That's what gives it its life. However, whenever we eat another animal, as we know that the Torah outlines the laws of which animals are considered to be kosher and which ones are not, we have to take the blood out from that animal. We're not allowed to eat or ingest the blood of an animal. And the reason behind that is because we don't want to bring their soul, their animal soul, and mix it in with ours. Because you are what you eat. And whenever you ingest blood, it becomes part of your blood. Because in the same exact body that we have, we've got a nefesh as well, which is godly. And if we mix the blood from an animal that is unclean, even those that are kosher, it still doesn't have a godly soul. So we have to take and extract the blood from that animal before we eat this meat or eat this part of the animal, because we don't want the blood to become mixed with ours, which will strengthen our own animalistic side, because every person has an animalistic side to them. So not only do animals have the animal soul, but even humans. However, we have an added level called the godly soul, nefesh elokit, and that's what really differentiates us from the animal kingdom, is that we have the potential, meaning the capacity, to rise above our animalistic instincts and connect to holiness. That's something that animals don't have. However, they can be utilized by humans who are serving the divine through eating them. Through being eaten, animals can be elevated to the level of holiness as well. But that's only if the person that's eating them is themselves directing their ratzon, which is their willpower and their desires, towards holiness. So if I eat a kosher animal and I am eating a meal, if that gives me the power to continue praying and to continue serving God the way that has been outlined in the Torah, not just for Jews, but for all of humanity, then I am actually able to elevate the spark, the spiritual essence of that animal to a spiritual level of holiness which they wouldn't have otherwise been able to reach. So I just sanctified the mundane world by eating that kosher animal as God has prescribed. Now it also has to be slaughtered properly, because whenever the animal is killed in a brutal and savage way, it goes through a tremendous amount of suffering. The Torah prohibits such an act to cause unnecessary suffering to animals or to any other people or to anything, any creatures, because they are also creations of God. So in the same way, if we cause that suffering for an animal, that they now are experiencing a tremendous amount of pain before they die, they release a certain hormone into the bloodstream, which is called a stress hormone. And it basically infuses the entire bloodstream of that animal, and that meat, which marinates in that blood that was released, all these hormones of stress. Now, if we were to ingest that meat, we are not only downloading the animalistic nefesh of that animal, but we are also bringing into our lives stress. Believe it or not, the stress and anxiety that exists within a human being, the Kabbalah explains, is because of the food that we ingest. So we have to check what we're putting into our body, because you literally are what you eat. Yesterday's Cheerios becomes this morning's prayers. So what we eat can be elevated through the actions that we choose to make with the energy that the food gives us. If we eat this food, even if it's kosher, but we direct ourselves in a direction that is not holy, then we are not bringing any elevation to that animal. But on the contrary, if we are directing our willpower and our desires in the direction of the service of God, we are actually elevating that animal not only to the level of the human by making it part of us, but by serving God, we're bringing that spiritual essence back to its source through our divine service. So that's on a simple level, mixed in with some spiritual insights, the reasoning or the explanation behind eating kosher in Judaism. And the same thing can apply in many other areas of Jewish law. For example, utilizing the physical world to serve God. Whenever we take the skin of the cow and we turn it into a Torah scroll, or we turn it into leather that we use to wrap tefillin, the phylacteries on our left arm, as per the Torah's commandment to keep a memorial in between our eyes and on our arm. So by using the physical world to serve God, we're able to sanctify it and elevate it to its original place, which is in its unity with God. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this explanation offered some insights into why we keep kosher, and I'll see you in the next video.